What's up, everybody? Happy New Year, Merry Christmas, Happy Thanksgiving, Happy Halloween. I don't know. I have not been on here in a while, so I felt like I had to get through all the holidays that I missed. But it feels great to be back. It feels great to be in the new year. So much opportunity comes from a new year, but so much opportunity in particular is going to come from this new year. And I'm actually excited just for us to be on this journey together. Honestly, this is gonna be my first year, my first time actually, since I've started trading, where I've actually had to deal with a transition from one president to another, and there not be a pandemic because I was trading during that time, but obviously that was very unique circumstances. But anyway, feels good to be back. Where have I been? Well, easiest answer to that question is honestly just taking a break. One thing that I've learned the most from 2024 was the art of balancing. And not just with trading, trading is a part of that, but just like in life, when there are so many, how do you say, like you just have so many things to juggle, right? Like as adults, we have our jobs, some of us have marriages, some of us have kids, some of us have other businesses. Like there's always, I feel like, a bunch of things that you're always kind of consistently trying to juggle, and there are times when it just becomes too much for me. And I think I talked about this in a previous video. It just takes my head off the charts. Like sometimes, especially if it's like an unexpected expense, it moves my mind into scarcity. I never want to be trading from a place of scarcity. I want to be trading from a place of abundance. So anyways, I just took a break. I want to say I barely traded the month of December. I definitely have not traded like the first maybe 2 weeks of January. And I'm going to get into why in a bit, but sometimes you really just need a break. Take a break. And I mean, like, I think from the time Christmas started to, I want to say by the end of last week, I actually was not on the charts at all. I wasn't looking at candlesticks. I wasn't looking at prices. I didn't even have Bloomberg on. I wasn't watching the news. I completely let myself decompress. I let it get out of my system. I said I just wanted to come back on and start new. So that way I could just reset. And I honestly am so glad I did it. I feel so good. I feel ready, refreshed. I feel excited, which is how I like to feel when I am talking about trading, because this is one of my favorite things to do. And yeah, so let's get into it, because there's so much to talk about, so much to digest, so much to just really get to talk to you guys about. So first things first, I am changing a couple of things this year, or adding a couple of things, because I do want to grow in some areas. So one thing that I do want to grow in is the amount of profits I make. So in my head, this is how I calculated it. I usually only trade one pair. I've only been trading UJ for the past 4 or 5 years. It's what I learned. It's what I became profitable on. So I'm never going to change that, not right now. But I am now starting to study gold. So gold is kind of an inverse pair, only because the USD, the dollar, is on a different side of the pair. And I'll explain that later too as we go through our weekly chart breakdowns. But that's going to be something different too. So on the videos, I'll be going over UJ like I've always been, but I'm also going to add gold too. And we're just going to continue to study gold. And then when I start taking trades on gold too, I'll show you guys the type of trades I took, why I took them, and hopefully they're profitable. So we can talk about the amount of money, because I've seen a lot of people make a lot of money on gold. So let's see if we can get the same kind of consistency. Second thing that I'm also doing this year, and you'll start to see it on my charts, is these little they look like alerts. So they're like little clocks. So what I'm starting to do too is, because I know that I kind of have a busy life, like a lot of stuff. I know that I can't be on the chart watching it all the time, but I still need to know when price is hitting my areas of interest, especially if those areas of interest are entry areas. So what I've been doing now on my trading view is that I still have my support and resistance lines, but I will add an alert to them. I already have an alert in this one, so let's see. I can add an alert to this. Oops. Here we go. I will add an alert to the line, or whichever one that I'm looking at, I'll just add an alert there. So with that being said, those are the two main things that I would say like I'm adding / changing for my trading style. Everything else is still very much the same. I am still a trend trader. I am still looking for market structure, and my entry points are always going to be on those points of market structure, depending on which way we are trending. So the next thing that I wanted to talk about is why I also haven't been trading in addition to just me taking a break. So as you guys know, I like to trade currencies. Gold is not really a currency, it's more of a metal, but it kind of acts like a currency in a way. And I'll explain that in a minute too. But I haven't been trading because when you have, in particular, this presidential handover is what I've been calling it, you see that Donald Trump has been talking a lot, or President-elect Trump has been talking a lot about tariffs, right? Are we going to put tariffs? How are the tariffs going to impact trade? All of these things in particular. Because I'm trading the US dollar, right? The US dollar is the main trading currency of the world. What does that mean? If you live in, I hate to use them, but if you live in China and you are, wanting to do business or trading with somebody in Brazil, the way that you would exchange your currency from the yen to, I don't remember what the Brazilian one is, but let's say the Brazilian dollar, you would do that in terms of USD. So almost every trade that goes through the market, and that's trading anything that requires, a purchase of goods to be sold or bought, will be bought or sold in USD. When you start talking about tariffs, that does affect the price of things that are going to be bought or sold, goods that are going to be bought or sold. I don't know how, because obviously, again, never had to deal with this before. So this is something that's rather new. There are a couple of things that, and this is from what I understand politically, that a president can implement basically day one they step into office. Tariffs are a topic that Trump has been talking about, I think, for like a month or two now, especially since he's won the presidency, that he has been talking about implementing as soon as he gets into office. With that being said, I've also been seeing on the charts a lot of choppiness. Hasn't been a lot of nice structure like I like in order to get my entries. So for me right now, I've just been watch mode or just hovering, like I say, over the charts, just watching how candlesticks are forming, see if there's anything that I can learn from this period, because I honestly see right now, for me, more of an opportunity to lose money than to gain money. And whenever I feel like that, I know it's just time for me to stay out of the markets for a time being. But we're still watching it. We're still learning. We're still seeing how my pair, UJ in particular, is going to react to all this news. And then, of course, gold, our secondary pair, gold, and see how it's going to react to the other news. So why I chose gold as my secondary pair. So gold, let me just hop onto that chart. As you can see, actually, let me point this out. So on UJ, we have the US dollar, right? And then we have the Japanese yen. So on this side, you would be selling the dollar, buying the yen. If it was the other way, it would be selling the yen, buying the dollar, vice versa, right? So, but in the normal way that this pair appears, even on like Bloomberg or any of your trading sites, it would be the dollar first, then the yen, right? The reason why I was saying that gold is an inverse is because you see it's gold, so you're buying gold and then selling the dollar. So what does that mean? In the event that there is news, like let's say for instance, we just had the unemployment rate go down. That is normally really good news for the dollar, right? So if we know that means that the dollar will be going up, sometimes we will look and we'll see on gold if it means that the price of gold is going down. Gold tends to go higher when there's a lot of economic uncertainty, a lot of market uncertainty, because our currency isn't technically backed by anything physical, not even gold. There's nothing backed physical. People will then move their money, move their assets into gold, which is supposed to be more physical. So it's kind of like a reserve currency or a backup in a sense. So as we are going through this year of, a new presidency handover, as we're looking at news with the tariffs, I actually am very interested to see how gold is going to react to these news, because I feel like there will be a lot of opportunities on gold. And let's see if we can, capitalize basically, I guess, from the inverse of how we would do it on UJ. And I think gold has, like, because of the way that it's structured on the price side, if you see, like, we're already in, the thousands, it requires less pips to make more money. But as like I said, like, as I'm trading this, like, I'll be able to explain kind of some of those concepts more. And then, like, honestly, like, we're learning this together. I have traded gold before when I was, like, a newer trader, just trying to find what kind of pair that I liked. Obviously, I landed with UJ, so let's just see how gold's going to treat us this year. All right. Let's talk about what I'm going to be looking for this week. I am not pressed to trade. I think, like I said earlier in the video, what I am going to be looking for is just how price is reacting to news. So let's go over what major news will be coming out this week. We have inflation news, CPI. And then, of course, I always just like to see unemployment claims. Because unemployment went down last Friday, I'm actually interested to see if this will continue into Trump's presidency. But I believe that the unemployment rate that we got from last week was really for December, which makes sense that it would go down. You have holiday seasonal workers. So let's see if it actually will go up by the end of this month into our next reading, which will be in February, where we talk about what's happening on when we talk about what happens with the unemployment rate from January. Let's see what happens also with inflation. I'm very interested in inflation because there's two reasons. I think it was the end of last year. We had a very interesting, we had a cut, like we knew. The Fed said that they were going to cut the rates again. But also what we noticed was that, like, inflation is still rising, but the Fed says it's more under control. But again, with the presidency, we're throwing in another wrench. So one thing that Jerome Powell said that I found was very interesting was he said, if inflation continues to grow into this year, 2025, that they are not, ruling out the chance of a rate hike, right? Meaning if they bring the rate up, we'll be seeing that, it comes more expensive to borrow, more expensive to, invest in things. Therefore, the dollar would probably see a lot more weakness depending on the inflation reading. So what I'm trying to see this week is, are we on track, right? Are we hitting our forecast? Is our actual going to be higher than forecast? Because these things actually very much matter as we're going into this year. So those are the only two things I'll be paying attention to. Again, I'm not really looking for trades. Just wanted to see how the market is reacting. If there is a really good trade, and it literally would have to hit like all 3 points of my entries, of why I like to get in and get an entry. Other than that, I don't think so. So let's start with let's start with gold. So same thing I always do with UJ. I know that we're kind of in the middle of January, so I'm not really worried about the monthly candle, although I do see that it's kind of forming a little bullish. That means we have some bullish momentum. Obviously, gold is bullish. I think gold is just like a bullish pair, as you can see. We have some stretches where it's bearish, but overall market structure, since 1971, the price has been going up, right? So again, I'm going to be more biased towards buys on gold, which makes it very easy for me because you guys know I like to just roll with the trend. So we see that there is actually a little bit of resistance here. So what I like to do, I'm going to mark that off, because as we approach that, we want to see if price is going to respect it or reject it. So we got a nice little monthly resistance. If this candle closed bullish, I'll mark this off as our monthly support, and then we'll take it down from there from the lower time frames. Weekly, it's showing the same thing. I like that we're seeing a nice, again, resistance here. It's lining up with what we saw on monthly time frame. I see we have like just a little bit of a higher low action forming here. Higher low meaning, let me just draw this. So we have a higher low here, and then another higher low here. So again, on the weekly, we still see like that bullish structure respecting. That structure is respecting the bullish movement. Because this would be like the last lower high that we saw being broken. Last high that we saw being broken, and then it'd be coming down to form a higher low. And just so you guys can get a visual of what I'm talking about, we had a low, it moved to a high, we made a higher low, it broke through this previous high to create a new high, and it looks like it's just created like another high low. And I think this is just, from what I'm seeing, just more of a buildup, another high low. So that is why I have this beautiful trend line down here on the daily. We had two touches on this trend line, which is good. So either way, what I'm actually looking to see is that if we get a little bit of resistance here, will we get a third point touch on that trend line? And on that third touch or anywhere near it is where I'd be looking to get an entry for some buys. But right now, as this is going up until our daily resistance that we have drawn here and it was respected here, I wouldn't be looking for buys. I'm just trying to see what price is going to do and if it's going to reject. Because remember, we still are by this monthly/weekly rejection zone. And that's really it. Again, we're going to see how gold reacts to inflation news. I'm not sure because I wasn't paying attention to gold before. So we're going to notice and see how gold reacts based on the inflation news, and then we'll talk about it next week. Now let's talk about UJ. All right, so UJ, we closed December super bullish for UJ. So I'm thinking hopefully we will continue with that with a strong dollar presence. Again, same thing here. We have a nice, we're approaching a nice monthly rejection zone. So it'll be interesting to see how price reacts if it gets back all the way up to this previous high. Let's see if we got on weekly. Yep, on the weekly, it is honestly respecting that. Oh, we had I already had a one pre-marked off right here for the weekly. So we still have a resistance. I'm probably actually just gonna make this one. I actually just want to make this one visible on the monthly, so it doesn't. I like to have clean charts. That's another thing I was going to say. What I did too when I started this year, I will clean off all my annotations. I'll clean it all off and I'll start from scratch and I'll just mark this off, because honestly, sometimes you get so married to your drawings that you're missing points of structure. And I usually do that, I want to say at least once a quarter. I'll probably clean off my drawings and then start over. Honestly, you just have to have a lot of confidence in knowing that you can clear it off and then start again and still find good entries. And honestly, it's helped me a lot versus keeping all my stuff on there and it gets really messy and I get really confused. Sometimes I get lost in the sauce. So clear your charts and just clean it up. It really will help you. So we're on the weekly. We see that we're respecting this resistance that we just actually saw on the monthly. So we're trying to watch. We're actually right on it. Price is right on this level. And I've been watching. I have not taken any trades in this area. I'm watching to see if price is going to continue to respect this area and continue to push up, or are we going to get another break back down? Maybe a touch of this line, maybe a touch of price to hit this EMA. Maybe we'll get a rejection. I don't know. Still waiting to see. We're kind of in a bit of consolidation. Obviously we're on the weekly time frame. It's a very high time frame, and we have a doji, back to back kind of dojis actually, which already signifying to me right now it is very choppy on the lower time frames, and I don't like trading in choppiness. That is how you lose the most money. It's not even oh, it's consolidation. It's just choppy. So let's see what we have. And we have on the daily, we could see there's still some structure being formed. it looks like to me right now, and definitely want to watch this throughout the week. It looks like the buying pressure is weakening. And what do I mean about that? So, we had this huge push from fall of last year. I caught a lot of entries in this. We talked about that. Then we have like this, after we have this nice push up, there's high lows. We had a high low be formed on the higher time frame, right? Because this was just one push, but we followed structure. We were able to get some entries in. Then after this push, right, we have a formation of a new high, a higher low, test of that same high, another higher low. It looks like another test of this high, another high low. Like, it's very small in here. And every time I see that, like, I feel like the buying pressure might be weakening. And the fact that we're also near this weekly resistance has also just, again, deterred me from taking any trades unless we're on the top side of this support. Right now, it's still a resistance. We do have some like bullish movement, but again, it's not enough to convince me to start looking for entries, right? So that's really what I'm looking at for UJ. I just need a breakout of some sort. I won't look for healthy buys until maybe we get like a healthy break on the weekly above this resistance. Right now, I feel like it's still just price is still testing it. And then honestly, when we go down to H4, it gets really, really choppy. Let me put this up. It gets really, really choppy. It's not clean. I'm trying to find like little points of structure for support just for me to have a good measurement and see where price is going. It's definitely right now with UJ, it's more of a waiting game than an active game. And if I'm being honest, that's the hardest part for me right now in my trading journey. But I'm actually determined to get really good. So I like that this year is starting off where I have to actually be more patient versus executing and just firing off trades when they're entering into my entry zones. So that's really all I had for you guys this week. Let me make sure I hit all my points. Oh, last point is the day that I'm actually looking at for probably being really active in the markets is January 20th, which will be Trump's inauguration. After then, I think we will actually start to get a very, very good data movement in price. Trump will start implementing policies, and then I think the market will start to open up for more, cleaner trades, as to say. Like, you can trade this. I am not trading it because it doesn't go along with my rules, but you can trade this and you probably can make some money. But right now, that is the date that I'm looking for. And honestly, until then, I'm just going to be in analysis mode and just sitting here trying to learn and adjust to these new market changes and market trends. Well, that's all I really have. Honestly, that's all I have for this week. I hope that you guys watch the video, like, comment, subscribe, share with anyone who you know is interested in learning trading. If you guys have questions, as always, you can DM me, leave them under the video. Doesn't matter. I am more than happy to help you on your trading journey, and I'm glad that you guys are here with me on mine. Thank you guys so much, and I'll see you next week.